You're kidding me, right? My voice quivered as I stared at Frank across the dining room, my hands gripping the table's edge. You want another $3,000 on top of the $4,000 I already give you every month? He lounged in his armchair, arms crossed like he was owed the world. I need a new truck, he said, his tone flat, final. The old one's done. You've got the cash, Nora. What's the problem? My chest tightened, anger surging. The problem, Frank, is I'm already carrying this entire house. Bills, groceries, utilities, even bailed out Caleb's debt. Now you expect me to buy you a truck. His eyes narrowed. Ha ha ha, yeah, I do. I've earned it. This family's leaned on me for years. Time you step up. Step up. The words burned. I'd been the backbone of this house for years. My paycheck? Drained by my father-in-law and my husband, Caleb, like it was their personal bank. And now, the one time I said no, Frank had the nerve to call me selfish. I'm done, I said, voice shaking but firm. Find another way. His face darkened, a vein pulsing in his temple. You're just like your mom thinking. You're above us. He shot up, his chair scraping the floor, and before I could move, he shoved me hard. My feet tangled and I was falling, tumbling down the stairs in a blur of pain. I hit the bottom, my wrists screaming, my head throbbing. Tears welled as I gasped for air. Frank stood at the top, glaring. That's what you get for disrespecting me, he spat, then stormed off. I waited for Caleb, my husband, my partner, to run to me to help. But he just leaned over the railing, face blank. You should have just paid him, Nora, he said. With a shrug, you know how he is? My name's Nora Ellis, and for 4 years I've been the wallet for a family that doesn't value me. That night crumpled at the bottom of those stairs. I realized I wasn't in a marriage or a home, I was in a trap, valued only for what I could give. This is a story of betrayal, of finding the strength to walk away, and of rebuilding when the people you love let you down. Stay with me, because if you've ever felt used, you'll feel every moment of this. And the ending will show you what it means to take back your life. I married Caleb thinking we'd build a future together. We were young, in love, and I believed in us. But when Frank's health started failing, everything changed. Caleb insisted we move into his dad's house to help out. I thought it was temporary, cover some bills, pitch in for groceries. I didn't know helping meant funding every single expense. Mortgage, utilities, Frank's subscriptions, even Caleb's credit card splurges. I worked long hours at my accounting job while Caleb quit his, claiming he needed to be there for Frank. Frank, meanwhile, treated my money like his personal slush fund, demanding cash for new gadgets or emergencies that never checked. Out. I told myself it was for family, that they appreciated me even if they didn't say it. I was wrong. That night, bruised and aching, I saw the truth. This wasn't a family, it was a one-sided deal where I was the ATM and my worth was tied to my wallet. I dragged myself up, pain shooting through my wrist, and packed a bag. I didn't say a word to Caleb or Frank as I grabbed my keys and walked out. My heart pounded, fear, anger, resolve mixing together. I didn't know where I'd go, but I knew I couldn't stay. I checked into a cheap motel, sat on the stiff bed, and let the weight of it all hit me. They'd taken my money, my trust, my safety, but they wouldn't take my future. I wasn't their lifeline anymore. The next morning, I called Sarah, a lawyer I'd met through a coworker. I need help, I said, voice steady despite the ache in my body. It's about my husband and his dad. Over coffee, I spilled everything. The years of paying for everything, Frank's demands, to shove down the stairs, Caleb's indifference. Sarah listened, her pen flying across her notepad. You've been funding them alone? She asked, brow raised. I nodded. Every bill, every expense, it's all me. She tapped her pen and the house. Whose name is it in? Mine, I said. They couldn't get the loan without me. I pay the mortgage. It's my house. A small smile crossed her face. Then it's yours, Nora, not theirs. Start with eviction papers for both. and Frank's assault. We're suing for damages. My stomach twisted. Evicting my husband felt like shattering my life, but staying meant losing myself. What about the assault? I asked. He could have killed me. Sarah's eyes hardened. We'll make sure he's held accountable. This is about justice and your safety. The next few weeks were a blur of preparation. Sarah helped me compile evidence, bank statements showing my payments, receipts for household expenses, texts from Frank demanding money, even one from Caleb, saying, "Just give Dad the cash. It's easier." Seeing it all laid out was a gut punch. I'd poured tens of thousands into that house while they gave nothing but complaints. Sarah also had me document the stair incident, photos of my bruises, a doctor's report on my sprained wrist. "This shows a pattern of abuse," she said. "It's not just financial, it's physical and emotional. We're building a case for your safety and your rights." The word safety hit hard. I'd spent years ignoring my own needs, convincing myself I was helping. Now I was fighting for me. I started rebuilding in secret. I found a small apartment near work and moved my things bit by bit. A bag of books. It's a bag of books. The house was a minefield. Frank's anger lingered like a storm cloud, and Caleb barely noticed my absence. Too busy scrolling his phone or bickering with his dad. Every interaction with them felt like tiptoeing through glass, but I kept my head down, my resolve growing. Sarah drafted eviction papers, giving Frank and Caleb 30 days to leave, and a civil lawsuit for $20,000 in damage. SOL. Financial exploitation, emotional distress. "They'll fight back," she warned. "Be ready." "I am," I said, my voice stronger each day. "They've pushed me too far." Keeping it quiet was the hardest part. At work, I deflected questions about my distraction with vague excuses. About family stuff. Inside, I was a split person. The Nora who still played the dutiful wife, and the Nora plotting her escape. At night, in my new apartment, I'd lie awake, replaying the stairs, Frank's rage, Caleb's coldness. The hurt threatened to drown me, but I'd picture serving those papers, their smug faces crumbling, and it kept me going. I wasn't just fighting for money or a house. I was fighting for my worth, my freedom, my life. The day came. Sarah met me at the house, her calm presence steadying my racing heart. She rang the bell, papers in hand. Frank answered, his scowl deepening when he saw me. "What's this?" he snapped. Sarah didn't flinch. "Mr. Thompson, you've been served," she said, handing him the eviction notice. "You and your son must vacate within 30 days. My client is also filing a lawsuit for damages due to assault and financial exploitation." Frank's face went red. "This is my house," he roared, flipping through the pages. "You can't do this." "It's my house," I said, voice steady despite my pounding chest. "And you're done here." Caleb shuffled to the door, rubbing his eyes. "Nora, what's this?" he mumbled. Frank shoved the papers at him. "Your wife's trying to kick us out." Caleb scanned them, his face tightening. "This is crazy, Nora. You can't. I can." I cut in, meeting his gaze, and I did. Their shock was palpable, the reality sinking in. This wasn't a fight they could guilt me out of. Sarah nodded to me. "They've been served. Let's go." As we walked away, I felt years of weight lift. I was free. A month later, the final showdown came. Sarah returned to deliver the eviction enforcement and lawsuit papers, and I watched from my car across the street. Frank flung open the door, his rage echoing. "This is bullshit." He shouted, fists clenched. "She can't do this. I've lived here for years." Sarah was unshaken. "The property is Ms. Ellis's, Mr. Thompson. You've had your notice. Vacate today or the sheriff will remove you." Caleb appeared, disheveled, clutching the papers. "Nora, really?" he groaned. Sarah handed him the lawsuit. "This is a civil suit for $20,000 for assault, exploitation, and distress. It moves. Forward regardless. Frank tore the papers, tossing them on the porch. You think this scares me? This is my home. Sarah didn't blink. The sheriff's on their way. It's over. When the sheriff arrived, Frank's bluster didn't stop them. This is in Ms. Ellis's name, the officer said, reviewing Sarah's documents. You're out now. Frank screamed about injustice, but Caleb just grabbed a bag looking at me across the street. Why, Nora, he called. We're family. That word family had been their weapon, twisted to justify their greed. I stepped out, calm. Family doesn't shove you downstairs, I said. Family doesn't bleed you dry. This is my house, my life, and I'm done with you. Caleb stared, then dropped his gaze, slinging his bag over his shoulder and walking away. Frank, still ranting, was escorted out by the sheriff, his voice fading as they packed his things. Sarah joined. Me in the car, a wry smile on her face. They're furious, but it's done. The sheriff's got it. I exhaled, the reality hitting. I'd broken their hold. As we drove off, I imagined them inside, Frank pacing, Caleb sulking, their world unraveling without me to prop it up. For once, I wasn't cleaning their mess. The house felt different after they left, bigger, quieter, mine. I walked through the empty rooms, the air no longer thick with their demands. The sheriff had cleared out the last of their things, Frank's final protests echoing in my mind. I locked the door, Sarah beside me. You did something brave. She said most people don't walk away from that kind of toxic loyalty. I nodded, her words sinking in. It wasn't about the money, I said. It was about me, finally choosing me. She smiled. You did now live for you. Over. The next weeks I rebuilt. I changed the locks, hired cleaners to scrub away the traces of Frank and Caleb. It was cathartic, like erasing their mark on my life. Friends rallied around me. You're a badass, my coworker Jess said over lunch. You could have stayed. Stuck, but you didn't. I hit my limit, I admitted. When Caleb didn't even check if I was okay, I knew he never cared. Why was I killing myself for them? Jess nodded. You're out. That's what counts. Frank and Caleb tried calling once, but I blocked them. Sarah assured me they had no legal ground to fight the eviction or lawsuit. You've won, she said, and I felt it untouchable, strong. I started dreaming again, picking up hobbies I dropped, sketching, running, even planning a solo trip to the mountains. The house, though mine, felt like a tether to the past, so I listed it. For sale. A fresh start, I told Jess, and it felt right. The lawsuit wrapped up months later. Frank was ordered to pay $15,000 in damage as a legal stamp on his wrongs. I doubted he'd pay willingly, but the ruling was enough. It said my pain mattered. My fight was real. When I handed the house keys to the new owners, I stood in the empty living room, memories swirling, Frank's rage, Caleb's apathy, my fall. They didn't own me anymore. I'd reclaimed my power. In my new apartment, life felt light. I painted the walls bright colors, hung my sketches, planned that mountain trip. You're glowing, Jess said at our next coffee date. Like you're free? I am. I grinned. I thought leaving was failure, but it's the strongest thing I've done. We toasted 2 new beginnings, to never settling. Frank and Caleb were ghosts now, their absence a relief. I didn't need their regret or apologies. I had my life, my terms. One evening, I sat on my balcony, city lights twinkling below. That night on the stairs felt distant, a spark that lit my rebellion. I'd been used, betrayed, but I'd risen. The future was wide open, and I was ready, fierce, whole, alive. This wasn't just an ending. It was my story, and I was writing it now.